All right, West Virginia fans, another day, another camp update. Got to be honest, wasn't really planning on doing a video today, but the camp has been nuts today. There's been a lot of different things to come out today, so I had to hop on and put something out because it's that busy today, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Before we get into it, again, if you're a West Virginia fan and you want to stay up to date with the Mountaineers, please like and subscribe to the show. With that being said, let's get right into it. So, the biggest story coming out of camp today was the eligibility of the four guys that need waivers. Those guys are Jeffrey Weimer, Jamoy Robinson, Ty Edwards, and Justin Harrington. Sam Elrich today reported that there was a lawsuit filed on August 1st among the players, and they are going to try to get eligible. So they all transferred with the hope that they would have another year of eligibility, and that did not happen. And a lot of them forewent the NFL draft process. So this is the next step, right? So the steps weren't being met and there wasn't much going on and things were not happening, and now things are going to happen. So I'm not sure about their cases. I'm not an expert in that at all, so I'm not going to pretend to be, but just be on the lookout for that court case and what's going to happen. I think we're going to have some answers sooner rather than later. So it's going to be massive gets if West Virginia can get these guys. Just be on the lookout for that. And I think they do make a good point. You know, if they really thought they had another year of eligibility, or and they came back, they didn't go to the NFL draft. If you look at someone like Jamoy Robinson, he probably had a good chance of getting drafted last year, or at least getting picked up by a team. You know, Ty Edwards had over 1,000 yards rushing last year, right? So, and then too, Jeffrey Weimer had 75 catches. So they make decent points. I hope they're back on campus, obviously, and I know Rich Rodriguez does too. He actually spoke about this today at his press conference at length. So they actually broke the news. It was Mike Kazaza, probably the best West Virginia journalist, in my opinion, during his press conference, kind of broke the news to Rich Rod that there is a suit filed, and Rich Rod spoke more about this today than he has the entire time we've had this issue be around. So listen to what Coach Rodriguez had to say about the players and about the situation.
Your four guys, you're waiting on waivers.
Yeah, we are waiting on four guys.
They filed a lawsuit.
Our guys did?
They tried to get an injunction, which I think you mentioned Saturday. I know you all don't have anything to do with
Outstanding.
that. Yeah, I was going to say, to actually be at this state is one thing, but, I mean, now you are here. You may get them back if they get an injunction. I don't know, but, like...
Yeah, I'm hopeful. You know, those guys have been around. They got to work out on their own. And obviously they can help our program, and I know they've got attorneys, and we'll see where that goes.
Can they sit in meetings?
What's that?
Can they sit in meetings with the team?
No, they can't. They can do everything on their own. Now they can come by the building. We don't have to throw them out, but they're truly on their own, which is, geez, you know, we're a week into camp. You know what I mean? But I think, you know, the sooner we know something, the better. But we don't control that deal.
When you recruited him, did you think it would take this long to get?
No, I did not. But that. Again,
seeing approvals from other guys around the
country. Yeah, and I don't know how long those other guys had things in. That's the frustrating part. You all know when something involved in the court or the process, it usually it's like, God, what's taking so long? But we may not be the only ones, or they may not be the only ones that are trying to, find out what the deal is.
All right. So again, it was pretty insightful to hear what he had to say about that. I think he feels a lot how we feel. You know, we're frustrated by it. We want answers, and these guys need to get on the field because they need to get acclimated with their teammates, and they need to get reps. So hopefully this gets figured out soon, but at least today the next step occurred. So be on the lookout for information as that drops. Let's talk about Rich Rodriguez's press conference overall. He had a lot to say today. Today was the last day in shells. Tomorrow is the first full day of full pads. So that's where guys are really going to start separating themselves, is when they put the full pads on. Quarterbacks will see a great deal of live reps. So they're going to take the quarterbacks to the ground on some days because they have to know what it looks like when these guys can actually run and break tackles and things like that. So they're going to do that more than they ever have. He believes the quarterbacks are in shape and believes he has a room of multiple guys that can play, which is great. And then no return of the running backs yet. So there's still 4. He said he was hopeful to get at least one back, and then they might have to go to the portal. So That's kind of the update on the running back room and what he said overall. Those 4 or 5 things I found interesting from his presser today. Also speaking to the media today was Nicco Marchiol. So he's the first player with media availability to speak in the camp. He said things like he wants West Virginia to be the fastest tempo in America. He thinks that the offense can go that fast. So it's going to be kind of cool to see the difference, because we went from having Dana Holgerson, which is the air raid, and then it kind of had Neil Brown with a little bit of a vanilla offense, to be honest. And then now you're going to go fast with tempo. So it should be a pretty crazy change this year with that. Someone asked if he thinks he could be 1,000-yard rusher, and he said yes. So I think in this offense, that's not that crazy. And if he's going to do that, he says he is as much athleticism as he has in his career. So feels the best athletically as he has in his entire career. So that's good to hear. And he feels like the offense fits him well. And then he also had high praise for the receiver room. He specifically mentioned guys, Cam Vaughn, Jaden Bray, and Rodney Gallagher. I'm going to show that clip now about what he said about those guys. And it's just, again, it's a hint. I think each day we find out more information about the camp. And now we're starting to hear more about the standout players. And Nicco shared that today. And he also shared about his role and what he thinks he can be in this offense. So here's Nicco Marchiol from his presser today.
Fits you personally?
It gives me a lot of flexibility to be who I am as a player. I haven't ran a whole lot in my career, but I feel like I'm the most athletic I've been in my entire career right now. So when I do run, I feel better than I ever have been running. Throwing the ball, whether we have just the right amount of quick game, just the right amount of drop back, just the right amount of stuff, where it's a lot of the throws that I've had success with in the past. And then, just like I said, having guys like Cam Vaughn and Jaden Bray and guys who are just almost, 50-50 balls aren't 50-50 balls with them. That there's a very good chance they're coming down with it. So guys like that, they give you a lot of confidence in the offense for sure.
So one player that you've been with for a minute that was also here with you in the old regime with Rodney Gallagher, what's his progression been like? What is he like now? Before this is going to be a big season, year 3 for him.
Absolutely, yeah. He's been awesome. He had a huge off season. I just know I see his commitment level. See obviously his connection to this school and this team. He's a great locker room guy, great teammate, super hardworking, and has really grasped the offense really well. I learned, like I said, having Bowie in that room with him. He's learned everything he can from him, and then he goes out and performs. Rodney Gallagher's had a really good offseason.
So yeah, all encouraging things. And I think, let's go back to the Cam Vaughn comment and Jaden Bray. He said 50-50 balls are not 50-50 with those guys. So it kind of just shows you that he's building trust with those guys. And when push comes to shove, if he needs to get the ball to those guys, he's going to try to do that. So good stuff from Nicco. Again, it sounds like Vaughn, Bray, and Gallagher are going to be guys that are definitely in the rotation or even some starters here, right? So again, another layer that we can peel back from camp and another clue of who you're going to see performing out there for the Mountaineers. So again, good to hear from Nicco. First player that we heard from all camp. Not sure if that's a sign if he's going to be the starting quarterback. I don't think they're going to give you that big of a hint. I still think it's a battle, but I think he's had a good camp so far based on the reports that are out there from the other media members. So Nicco Marchiol. And then the other guy that met with media is Chase Wilson, guy from Colorado State who we've been high on the show. He said that he ultimately came to West Virginia because he has a good relationship with Zach Alley and Zach liked his game. And then we have a clip here of actually what led him to Morgantown besides that. So I'm going to play that for you guys real quick about Chase Wilson and what he thought of Morgantown when he came on his visit.
That was the biggest factor in wanting to transfer.
And why West Virginia? Just because of Coach Alley, or were there other reasons?
This was the first visit I took, and right after my visit, it felt a lot like Colorado to me, just more hills than mountains. But, I fell in love with it. Fell in love with the people, the game day atmosphere, the fan base. It just felt like home to me.
All right. So again, I think it's cool when guys tell their story and what led them to West Virginia. We haven't heard from many transfers yet, so I'm sure that's similar story with all of them about how much they enjoy Morgantown. So good stuff from there. He also mentioned the offensive tempo will greatly prepare the West Virginia defense for the upcoming season. So, like Nicco said, they want to be the fastest offense in the country. And when they're practicing that, they put a lot of pressure on the defense to get lined up and to get set up. So he's not the only person that said that. A lot of people, the coaches and things like that, have been saying that this camp, that by how fast the offensive plays, it's only going to help the defense because the fastest offense that they're going to see this year is in camp. So that was good to hear. And then, Chase Wilson's another one of those players today that shared some information about which players are standing out in camp. And he mentioned a bunch of them. So I want to play that. We'll talk about those guys and then we'll move on.
On the defense, since you're getting to know everybody, who are some other guys on the defense that have stood out to you that you think are progressing well that could be an impact player?
Shoot, I mean, there's a lot to name. I'm biased, but Braden Siders, a guy who I went to high school with and I played against at Wyoming. He plays hard. Eddie V, Ham Russell. In the back end, I think Jason Chambers, Scooter Scruggs, Fred Perry is another one. There's a lot of guys to name, but everybody kind of takes that ownership of, like I was talking about leading. You lead within your position group when you're an older guy, and that kind of trickles down through the group. So, similar to Nicco was talking about competition. If we're competing at every single spot, at every single position, it's all going to make us better and have a better team.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So again, a lot of the stuff he's saying, they've been saying at camp, competition breeds winners and a good team. So Jason Chambers is a guy that he mentioned who we talked about the cornerback room this week on the preview videos, and he was a guy that was mentioned. I'm really impressed to see that he's getting the name out there because I think that cornerback room has a lot of talent there, especially with Scruggs and Coates and things like that. So the fact that he's getting his name out there is a good sign for him. He mentioned Braden Siders, who's a player from Wyoming that has a lot of good stats coming into West Virginia. So again, he kind of lays it out there for you of who the guys that he sees as standouts and guys that could potentially make plays for West Virginia this year. Overall, I thought Chase Wilson, though, came across really well in the media, and I think that he did a good job and can be a good leader on that defense. The coaches poll came out today. So the AP poll comes out tomorrow, but the coaches poll officially was released today. 3 West Virginia opponents are on the poll. So if you look at it, that they're going to see this year, they're going to see BYU, Texas Tech, and Arizona State. So they have 3 top 25 teams according to the coaches poll that they'll see this year. And then there was 5 Big 12 teams. You can see Arizona State, Kansas State, Iowa State, BYU, and Texas Tech. So that's the coaches poll. Like I said, the AP poll comes out next week. And then the last little bit of news that came out today, the NCAA tournament is staying at 68 teams. They're not going to expand this year. Still possible for 2027, but not going to happen in 2026. In my personal opinion, don't add anymore. I think it's already overcrowded. It would have helped West Virginia last year, but I would have kept it. Anyway, appreciate you guys. Again, if you are a Mountaineer fan, please like and subscribe to the show. We really appreciate it. We'll put out more stuff as things break and as camp goes on. Again, I really appreciate the support. Let's go Mountaineers. We'll talk to you guys again soon.